Welcome to Age Potential TV. I'm Lori Campbell, your host, gerontologist, and advocate of your best life, here to introduce you to an emerging trend called Age Potential. Here's to living out your age potential. Modern lifestyles are stressful, and many people have adopted a restricted breathing pattern. Stay tuned to Age Potential TV as Terri Peterson, a soul breathing facilitator, will shed light on how to harness the power of breath for better health and well-being. Welcome, Terri. What an important topic. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, you're a registered pharmacist. Tell me, how did you become interested in breath work to eventually become a qualified breath facilitator?
Well, I think you're drawn to what you need the most. And I had been studying a lot of different holistic things for about, well, probably really about 20 years. I'd started with yoga and Tai Chi, went on to meditation. And in the last maybe 10, 12 years, I actually learned pranic healing and became certified in Reiki. So when I knew this teacher was coming into town, I thought I'd try it. I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And I had an amazing experience. But I realized the next day that I really needed the breath because I thought I breathed just fine. And I had a great experience during the class, but then I quickly forgot about it and was back to my stressful life the next morning, rushing off to work and everything. And I tried to fit one more thing in. I had to water my evergreens because they were blowing out my sprinkler system. And when I did that, I was just holding the hose thinking, oh, I'm late to work. And I noticed I'm holding my breath. And so that was my default pattern. I was realizing that I was holding my breath. And that was a pattern I dropped into anytime I got stressed or out of balance.
Sure.
Now, my teacher had said in class, how you breathe is how you live your life. And he said, if your breath is deep, relaxed, connected, and flowing, your life will be deep, relaxed, connected, and flowing. But on the other hand, if your breath is jerky or partial, or if you hold your breath, your life will be like that. So that's when I had my aha moment and thought, oh, I need to learn more of this because I realized I was holding myself back in life. All those things I had been dabbling in were really my passion, but I wasn't following my passion because I was holding back my breath.
Wow, that's beautiful. So why would you say, why is breathing so important? I mean, you kind of touched on it by sharing your journey, but why is it so important to the body and to the health?
The breath is really important to all parts of us, not just the physical body. Though on the physical level, it detoxes our cells. It gives us energy to do work. It gives us life. It makes us have vitality and, really feel good about ourselves. If we're not breathing very much, we're not living very much. But it also works on an emotional and a mental level. It helps clear stuck patterns that you have, and it allows you to be more connected to yourself and to others.
And really, most people only use 30% of the respiratory system. Wow. So we are born breathing full capacity. What in the world causes us to become so restricted over time?
It's really socialization and wanting to fit in. When you're young, you're born breathing, as you said, full capacity. And we don't think a lot of things, we just feel everything. If you cry because you're sad, you let everybody know, right? And if you're happy, what do? You laugh and you coo and everything's great. But as you go along, adults or people in your world try to get your emotions to kind of calm down because emotions are contagious. If you've ever been around somebody who's really sad, you start feeling sad. So if you're a little kid and you start crying, eventually it starts to trigger things in the big ones in the tribe. And so
And what do we say? Don't cry, little Susie.
Right. Don't cry. And so as a kid, what you do is you don't necessarily understand don't cry. You don't really know what that means, but you get the energy of stop. And so what you do is you learn to stop crying by holding your breath. You suck it in, you suck it up. We hold our breath so we don't have to feel our feelings, and that allows us to kind of fit in to whatever range the adults are expecting us to do.
Interesting. Well, the idea of better breathing isn't really anything new because yogis have been reaping the benefits of pranayama breathing, which is really more of a control type breathing, where soul breathing or transformational breath, soul breathing is what you go by, is something very distinctively different. Can you differentiate the two? They're both very important, but equally very unique.
Well, pranayama, prana means energy or life force. It means breath, it means spirit. Breath is actually spirit in and through the body. So prana means that breath or that energy, that life force. But yama, pranayama, just means the control of or the mastery of. So it's not always about controlling. There's about 10,000 different kinds of breathing techniques on the planet. And all of them, even soul breathing, stem from the basic techniques in pranayama. But when you think of yogic breathing, they do a lot of controlling the breath or counting. And every breathing technique on the planet really does something different. And soul breathing does something different too. And soul breathing, the difference is that there isn't a control with that exhale. There's three parts to soul breathing. You have the inhale, and then you have the exhale. And then the fact that you're going to connect the breath and kind of make a circle out of it, that's the third part. But that exhale is very relaxed in soul breathing. It's like if you blow up a balloon really big and then you let it go, just the right amount of air comes out. You don't have to push it out. You don't have to, pull it out or hold back. And so that's what we strive for in soul breathing, because it's the natural breath you're born with and the natural breath you die with. And once you know how to breathe correctly and use your diaphragm to do it, all those other techniques, those specialty techniques that they can teach you in yoga or pranayama, can really make a difference in your life too.
And this is, the inhale is through the nose or through the mouth, right? Correct?
Yes.
Where in pranayama, it's through the nose.
Usually it's through the nose, although they have probably, there's so many techniques out there, there's probably a lot of them that go through the mouth as well. But soul breathing is in through the mouth and out through the mouth. And the main reason for that is simple. It's because it's a bigger hole. It's a bigger opening, and we want to bring in as much oxygen as we can, because that oxygen is going to do some very specific things.
Such as?
It's going to detox the body. 70% of toxins are released through the breath. We breathe about 26,000 times a day. So each exhale, we're releasing CO2 and things that our body doesn't need anymore. So when you think about it, 70%, that's a lot.
That is.
And if we're not breathing fully, we're not detoxing our body fully. And so then as we get older, we start to age. But if we can reverse that, we can live our fullest age potential till, we're very old, because we're taking in and nourishing ourselves with each breath. The other thing that soul breathing does is it works on cellular regeneration. As we've been sitting here, about 1 million cells have died and have been reborn. And there's always a constant state of death and rebirth in our bodies. And our cells, at the level of our DNA, have the ability to reproduce ourselves accurately and completely. But as we age, sometimes things go haywire, especially in some diseases like cancer. And when we breathe deeply and fully, we can actually start to reverse some of those signs. In fact, in 1931, there was a scientist, Otto Warburg. He won the Nobel Prize for discovering if you take cancer cells and put them in an oxygen-rich environment, they can't grow, they can't proliferate. And so, my teacher actually did cure herself of cancer with transformational breath. Now, she doesn't go around saying that everybody's going to be healed by this modality, but it can be an adjunct to people who have some serious disease.
Wow, that's profound. That's encouraging. By just increasing the capacity of oxygen that we breathe in. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, why don't you demonstrate soul breathing for us?
All right. Well, how soul breathing works is mainly you're going to use your diaphragm, and it's the natural way that you're designed to breathe. And so the physiology of the body, how it works, is you have your diaphragm, and you don't need to do this yet, but in the resting state, this would be your diaphragm. It's kind of curved, and it's hooked to the ribs in the front and into the back. And when you breathe in, it's a muscle, and it just contracts. And it pulls down the lower lobes of your lungs, creates a vacuum in your lungs, and the air just comes in. But first, this diaphragm is going to push down on all your soft tissue and your organs. So your belly is literally going to rise. So it goes like this. On the inhale, I'm doing work. The diaphragm is moving downward, the diaphragm's contracting. But on the exhale, I'm just letting go. The breath follows every cycle in nature. There's lots of cycles in nature, and they all involve a period of work and a period of rest. When you think about it, we have like our day and night, we have summer and winter. There's always something moving, and then it rests. Like the squirrels, they go into hibernation about now. If we follow the signs of nature with our breath, we can be in harmony with nature. So if we work on the inhale and relax on the exhale, we find that we're in the flow of life. And it can be really magical, really fun, really balanced. It can bring balance and clarity into your life.
So it's a circular breath. You don't hold. It's just a very natural flow, like you're saying. So if a person comes to one of your sessions, what can they expect?
Well, I do lots of things. I have private sessions, and then I also do a lot of intro workshops. I'll do a breath mastery seminar. But in one breathing session, I'll do a little intake and find out a little background about my client. But then I will teach them the technique, and then I'll have them lie down on the floor. And if they can't lie on the floor, I have a lot of people who come to me that need to sit in a chair, however they need to be. But I try to put them in a position that will help open their breath, because everybody has an individual breathing pattern. It's like your fingerprint or a snowflake. It's individual to you. And everybody has a pattern that they drop into when they get stressed out or get worried. Mine was holding my breath, but other people have different things going on in their body when they breathe, and it has to do with everything that's happened to you from when you were born to where you are today. So I kind of look at their whole body, and as they are breathing, I will touch different areas of the body where I feel like the breath is stuck, and to help release it and help create an open breath. My job is really easy. All I have to do is keep the person breathing, and breath does the rest.
So obviously, it's good to come to sessions to learn this technique, but people might want to try something at home. Do you have a technique that the viewers maybe can start to incorporate into their daily lives?
Absolutely. In fact, it is a self-healing modality, so I usually suggest people come to me for maybe 3 to 6 sessions, up to 12, and then they've almost mastered their breath. At least their body knows how to do it, and it remembers how to do it. So it's something that they can do on their own. What I recommend to everybody who comes for just one session or for one workshop is that they do a practice that I call 100 breaths to joy. And it just involves doing the soul breathing breath for about 4 to 5 minutes. It's kind of funny because I tell people, don't count to 100. That's the only rule. You can't count to 100. And it's because I want to get people out of their heads and just into their body. The thing is, the body knows how to breathe, but our mind gets in the way and always says, am I doing this right? Oh, maybe I should be doing it this way or that. And the idea is to really just know the basic technique and then just allow it to flow through you. And that's why it takes maybe 3 to 6 times, is because our minds get in the way. But when you're breathing, you could kind of sit back at about a 45-degree angle, or you could lay flat with your knees bent. Depending on your breathing pattern, I would put people one way or the other. But assuming you have a normal breath, your belly should go out on the inhale. So when you take a breath in, if you put your hand, you might want to try this. Put your hand below your navel, above your pubic bone, and just take a big breath in. Now, does your belly go out, or does it go in? Does it go out or in?
Let's see. Belly goes in. It's supposed to go out.
It's supposed to go out. So if it goes, it should go in on the inhale, because you're filling up.
In on the inhale?
Your belly should go out on the inhale.
So
Sorry, very confusing.
No.
On the inhale, when you're taking a breath in, the diaphragm pushes on all the organs. It's like if you have a ball of pizza dough and you put a plate on it. It squishes out.
Oh, there we go.
So your belly should come out, because it's going to be squishing all those organs out. So when you take a big breath in, it should go out.
Yes. I got it that time. I could feel the difference.
So when you do that at home for about 5 minutes, you're going to take a big breath in. You're going to fill all the way up to the top. As soon as you get all the way full, you're just going to let go, and you're going to narrow the gap at the top and the bottom of the breath. It'll sound like this.
Beautiful. Like you said, how you breathe is how you live. This is really the essence of life, something very important. Thank you for being here and sharing your expertise.
You're welcome.
Breathing is the most fundamental thing we can do as human beings. Aging well is directly proportional to how well you breathe. Consider becoming more mindful of your breath and learning how to open restricted breathing patterns so you can engage your entire respiratory system.